So let's take a look at this page. This is page 12, concept exploration, dealing with order of operations. We've already been talking about this year quite a bit. Every math calendar has had order of operations on it. Okay, so when we are following the order of operations, we always know we start with parentheses, and I'd write this right there in my little book. We use the letter P for parentheses. This is what those symbols look like. The parentheses are groupings. So that would be an R. Grouping properties would be, you've got your braces, you got your brackets, and then you have your parentheses. So parentheses, and then the next part would be exponents, but we don't have any of those in this book, but it's good for you to know that. Then we have an M and D. The multiplying is for, M is for multiplying, D is for dividing, and whatever happens left to right. And then you have adding and subtracting, whatever happens left to right. So we call this PEMDAS, but just keep in mind that these are very important, that you know you're doing left to right on those. Okay, now this first problem reads, when an expression has two or more steps, use the order of operations to determine the order for the steps to simplify the expression. So that's, if you remember, I may have already mentioned this to you, I know I have, but when you see more than one operation, you need some type of order. And I use that, think about how Lucky Charms has all these different marshmallows in it, but well, if you were in court, they would all be just craziness, but you have to have some type of order. And so the leprechaun, he can bang his gavel down and he says, order in the court, and the way that we order it is from the order of operations. The operations have some order. So when you see subtracting and adding, now let's go back up here, and sometimes, you would say, oh, well, because you say A for Aunt Sally, Aunt first, we're going to do the adding first. No, it's whatever happens left to right. And so we are going to, what happens, like you're going across, like reading it like a sentence. These two will be grouped together. 20 minus 9 is 11. And then bring down what you haven't used. This is so basic compared to what we've been doing. So this ought to be very easy for you. Again, we're moving it down, and we end up with, what is our final answer? 13. Let's look at number 2. It says, this expression uses parentheses. Simplify the expression and show your work. All right, go back. Do they have a grouping? Yes. Which grouping is it? The parentheses. You're going to do that first. So 9 plus 2 is 11. Let's bring down what we haven't used. So what is 20 minus 11? You're taking all of 20 away except for 9. Okay. 2 expressions are shown. This is for number 3. Circle the expression with the greater value. Justify your answer. All right, so we have to find the one that is greater, and then you have to explain your reasoning. So, okay, so the numbers are the same, but what happens? This one puts the parentheses. So we're going to go back. We're going to go to this one, though, and we're going to work the problem. So because you have adding and dividing, remember that? PEMDAS, PEMDAS, remember that? Okay, so what are we going to do first for this problem? Do we see any multiplying or dividing? Yes. So we're going to put these two. That division means that these two are grouped together. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. So now we have 20 plus 3, and that equals 23. Now let's do the same numbers, but this time, because we're grouping, they're telling us what to do first because there are parentheses. So what's 20 plus 30? 50 divided by 10. How many 10s are in 50? There's 5. So it says right here, it says, what is the meaning of the parentheses in the numerical expression? That means, remember I said it's like a little kid holding his hands up, I need some attention, do me first. And it says, why might an expression's value change if the parentheses are included? Because they're forcing you to do addition to get something larger there, possibly. It says, how did you use the critical thinking trait communicate in this activity? All right, so we always go back to this side, and how do you communicate? You express your thoughts clearly and accurately. You can use words, numbers, symbols, pictures, and objects. And then, because it says you were working with a partner, how did you use critical thinking trait? I expressed mathematical thoughts clearly or accurately. Either one would work with that. How did you use critical thinking trait? Examine. What do you do when you examine? What do you do when you examine? You use your senses to collect information, you organize the information, and you form conclusions. All right, you analyze information and look for patterns and relationships. I use a variety of methods to explore and to analyze. How to use critical thinking trait? Examine in this activity. Examine in this activity. Examine in this. Analyze information, look for patterns, organize the information. Okay, what did you use? I organized my thinking when using the order of operations. Why do you have to use the order of operations? When you have different or a variety of steps, right? When you have a variety, when you have more than one. I organize my thinking when using the order of operations. Order in the court. Okie doke.